So I've used the Stitchery Stamp Set, I've used the Playful Alphabet Dies, I've used the Meadow Dies, which are these ones, from the Quiet Meadow bundle. And I've got the papers I've used written down. I've used the Pattern Party DSP, which is the one that's in the back of the catalogue that you can get as a host gift. And I've used my favourite paper out of the Christmas catalogue, which is called the Sweet Stockings. And this is the Pets one. So I have a quick squint for you. So the reason I chose this was there was a bit of a challenge from a team day that we did on Saturday, which was to use the free little samples we got in a project. So I chose to do them in this one because two reasons is this paper here leads itself to the stitching. So does this one. And so does the main paper that I've used for the project, which is here. And I've used the two sheets in the project, but you can see it's beautiful if you love cats and dogs. And it comes with, the suite itself comes with belt and bling, the ribbon that I've used today, and all sorts. So that's really cool. I will put this up on Facebook later with all the things that I've used. And the reason I also did this project was because I have this little box of things left over from the projects that I did, and I wanted to use some more of them up. So on the original project, I think I said to you that this was used on the book itself, and this was what was left over. So I've taken out what I'm going to use for the page that I'm going to do with you, and they're all in there. And these dies are, can you see them on the white? I think they look so cool when you just cut them out of white paper, which is our basic white. And then you can colour them any colour with ink, blends, the pencil crayon, the watercolour pencils, or just ink, which is really cool. Or you can cut them out of the colour that you want. Oh, and here we go. This is the challenge that we had was we had some DSP cut, which is where I got the stitched idea from, and we had some ribbon, and I've used the Pool Party for this one. Got that much left, and then there was some bling in there, so I've used the red bling, which comes from the set, which I had in my hand a minute ago, which has gone from my table. So yeah, so it comes in the set, the suite. Right. Let's get going. So, ta-da! I have prepared a little earlier what we were going to do. And this is the paper bag card that I made. I wonder if that's the right way up for you guys. I can't tell. Oh no, it's the right way up. So basically use a big paper bag, you cut the bottom off and make this. And then you fold the paper bag in half, and I've used some dies to cut the ends, and then you stitch it all together, and that's where the stitching came in. I did this for a team retreat, and I made 27. 10 of them were kits, no, 10 of them were swaps, and 3 of them were designs to be on the tables, and the rest were kits for people to make. So I actually did all the sewing for the kits, and then I've popped in a packet of seeds because I thought it was cool, and you can see the fronts. I did all the cutting out for that too. So what I've done is I've matted that one. I'm going to show you a technique with this one, and I've matted this one on an angle. I'm going to show you the technique from this card, this one. So I'm going to show you how I've done that. And I've to get the design, what I've done is I've laid out my photos, because that's the thing that you need to decide is where your photos are going. And I'm someone that likes a few photos on my scrapbook layouts. Sometimes I'll only use one photo, but most of the time I usually have 2 or 3. And I do like to have things enlarged when I see them. So once you've decided where your photos go, I'm now mirroring the design I've already done to make it sort of a bit matchy. And I've cut out my little squares. So my squares started off this size. These are 2 by 2 because I always do inches in scrapbooks, and then I realized they were too big, so I've cut some of them into inch by inch size. I've used Bumblebee and Pool Party, and then I've used Misty Moonlight as a background there, just to bring it out. So I'm going to just move that to one side because this sheet of 12 by 12 basic white cardstock has had an inch taken off on this side. So I've taken an inch off that side, I've turned it 90 degrees, and I've taken an inch off the other side. And that then gives me a piece of white cardstock measuring 11 inches by 11 inches. I keep these 2 bits because they're really, really good for sentiments on cards. They're about the right size. Excuse me, sniffing. I've then chosen my background, and what I've done is I've decided I'm not going to waste the paper. So when you put your sheet on top, you can see that all that paper underneath is, if you like a really thick face scrapbook page, that's fine, but I put mine in covers, and then I'll put another scrapbook page behind it, so it does get quite thick. So what I'm going to show you is how I've cut out the bit. Hi Rebecca, welcome, thanks for joining us. Right, oh, the cat's just woken up, so he's going to start walking across. If he does, I'm sorry about that. So most of you will probably know that we do this trimmer, and I'm going to try and get in shot. Yep. What I'm watching is delayed, so that's why I'm pausing at times. I apologise for the pausing, but I just want to keep up. So what I've done is I actually prefer to put my sheet, I use this side and I put it to the 1 inch on this side so that I can see here, and then what I do is I take my blade, I push my, and I roughly guess where the inch is, because you can't really tell on here when you do it from the bottom, it's easier from the top. So I just come up a bit. I've got my inch done, and I just cut up to the inch up here, and I just don't go too close. And then I turn it, put my inch down this side, come back, and now I can see there is a line there. So I match my line, excuse my head, if my head comes in. There's a little score on here, and that helps me go up. And what I find is if you put your finger underneath, when you get to the point it does tell you. And then I've obviously cut it too short, but that's okay. And then what you do is, if you're really good, you can cut it all away, but I find my safest bet is to just take it to the edges, because I'm not that good. There we go. So then you've got this piece that you can use for another project, or you can turn it round and use it like that. So this is really big. So I have 2 of these left over, and they're ready for another project. Cards, particularly. You can do your one sheet wonder cards. Okay, so put the trimmer away and bring this back in. So then what I do is I actually use tear and tape at this point, because I find it's easier, and I am going to, I should have done this before, put my tear and tape around, and I'm going to show you a little technique. I'm just aware that I've got earthworks going on at the house, and this afternoon they're supposed to come around the back here, and they've been away for lunch since 1, and I was hoping that they would come back a bit later, but they're back and I can hear them. But I think they're still at the front here, so hopefully we'll be done before they come back. So that's the tear and tape on there. And then what I do is I actually take my tear and tape, and I think, again, it might be that some of you are new to scrapbooking or new to crafting, so this will be a really good technique for you to learn. Those of us that have been doing it a while, I actually learned this from another scrapbook lady who actually, I go to another class with her, so she does it all the time, and I went, I need to know that, it looks really cool. And so you go around each one. Sorry, tear and tape takes a while. There we go. Right. Now what I noticed was I put this design the wrong way on my other page, so I'm actually going to, I wanted to put it this way, but it ended up being this way, so I'm going to keep this the same. I'm now going to take my sheet, make sure I'm in set, and I pop it down roughly in the right place. And where the little bits of tape are, I know I've got it straight. And then what you do is you pull each tab. And what this means is that you can get it straight before you put down. Not quite straight, but it's straight enough. And then you just pull, and it takes the top of protective bit off, and then you can. So there we go, that's a technique for you. So now we're ready to put our photo mats on again. And I'm going to show you what I did with this one to get the frame. So I chose to go from my inches to my centimetres, but I think that it would be 1, 2, 3/8 of an inch around. I'm choosing the 1 centimetre at the bottom here because it's easier. And I'm going to do exactly what I just did with a small bit of paper, and roughly guess where that line is. And this is the beauty of the trimmers that are like this. You can cut within. I do have another lady that used to come to classes that always cuts with a blade, and that's even cool, but I was thinking blades and me don't match. Now again, I'm not as confident to finish off, so you just get your scissors out. That one came off nicely. And again, choose the side that makes it easier to cut. There we go, that's that one. Sometimes they just need a little bit of a hand because they're almost there, but not quite. There we go. And again, keep this because you can use it for something else. And you have your frame. Now you can rough up the edges, you can ink the edges, you can do all sorts to them. Oh, Sharon, the bits of paper, they're called angel wings when I use the technique too. Very good, I like that, remember that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now play with this a minute because I want to decide whether I do it like this. So you do have to play with it a bit to see which bits you want. So I actually want the table in more, so I'm going to actually change it so I go more like that. And there's no right or wrong of how you do it. It's just sort of creating another way of looking at the photos and choosing your focus of the photo in that tab. Okay, so then what you want to do is you want to put your photo where you want it in the frame, turn it upside down, and then with your tape just put a bit of tape runner on that bit there, and this bit here, just to keep it down. There we go. Pop it back to make sure you're happy with where it goes. There we are. Yep. So then you want to, sorry, I'm not very good with these runners. I usually use the Tombow glue, but somehow today I was making a mess with it. I'm going to bring that closer to me, and I square the photograph on the card underneath. And there you have just a different way of showing your photos. And so you've got one that's just done on an angle on the bottom, and then this one's done on an angle at the top. There, that's it. I've got it. And isn't it fun? Right, I'm happy with that, because now I can actually put my sentiments and all sorts of things. So the thing with a scrapbook page is that you want to really put things down before you stick anything. So once you've got your photos matted, it's then a matter of deciding where you want things. So I'm thinking that's the pool party. Oh, yeah. So I'm thinking something like that, and then taking your, so what I've done is bumblebee, a piece of the pets, a piece of the paper that I've used on the project, and another piece of pets, and looks something like that. Yep. So what I've realized is that you're probably not going to watch me do the stamping, which is a shame. The other thing I've done is to type out my journaling, because I do like to journal, and I've printed them on copy paper, A4 copy paper, but then what I've done is I've cut them out and stuck them down on white cardstock. I find that then it means that they can be dimensionalized a bit easier, and also you can move them around. And what I've done is sentences, and then I choose where I put my sentences. And then, I don't know, the cat's decided to wake up too, so he's in the background. And here we go. What I would use then is this big block. I've got Memento ink that I've chosen to use, and I've lost the stamp set. And then what I'm thinking is I will take this one and put them across maybe this one. And another technique I've learned is that rather than put that on the block, and sometimes they bend or don't sit properly, particularly the clear ones, I actually bring the block to the stamp. And these ones I don't need any sponge underneath because they're sponge, so I will do the stamping in a bit